Good evening and welcome to the online revision session for maths today. So Wigan Maths. If you can leave your name in the comments box, I will share with the tutors that you were here and what we went over today. If there are any questions, please pop up and ask. I'll do my best to try and answer them for you. What we're looking at today is we're looking at the topic of estimation. Now, estimation is one of the biggest bugbears of any math teacher and any examiner, in that people don't actually read the question. Now, if you see the word estimation or estimate, what it means is it wants not the exact answer, it wants a roundabout answer. Now, by that, it doesn't mean find the exact answer and then take a little bit off, or find the exact answer and change one of the numbers. What it means is it wants you to, early on, it wants you to change what the figures in the question are. So it wants to change the figures. Now, when it says change the figures, it wants to change it to an easy to use, a very, very easy to use set of numbers. So the way that we do that is we change everything to one significant figure. So one sig fig. Now, before we get into estimation, we're going to go through what a significant figure is. Now, a significant figure is any number that isn't 0. The first number you see in a number that isn't 0 is the significant figure. So in the number 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 significant figures there. Now, when we're looking at estimation, we need to turn it to one significant figure. Now, to turn the number 1, 2, 3, 4 to one significant figure, so I only want the very first one to be significant. I have to actually look at the second number. Now, the second number is 2. Now, 2 is less than 5, which means I've got to round it down. So if a number is less than 5, you round it down. If it's 5 or above, then you round it up. So this one here, so I'm going to keep the 1. So I've got the number 1. I'm going to change the 2 to a 0. I'm going to change the 3 to 0. I'm going to change the 4 to a 0. So the number 1, 2, 3, 4 to one significant figure is 1,000. Now, if it was asking for two significant figures, I'd have to look at the third number in. So I have to look at the 3. Again, it's less than 5, so I'd round that one down. So two significant figures, that becomes 1, 2, 0, 0. Now, the reason that significant figures are important when we're looking at estimation is because they are the way to estimate. We need to round everything to one significant figure. It makes it very, very easy. And I'm going to tell you a maths teacher secret right now. We estimate most of the answers as we're going around in class. The majority of us don't know all the answers off the top of our head, especially if it's some calculations that we've made up on the board. What we do is we estimate the roundabout answer, and if you're close enough, we'll tell you, yeah, that looks right. If any of you have sat in my classes, you would have heard that phrase quite a lot, because that's how we do it. It's what we do a lot of the time. We do it in real life as well. Now, I'm going to show you some just straightforward math sums to start with, and eventually we'll move on to some more real life problems which you may actually encounter. So to start with, we'll look at 2.9 times by 401. Now, not many people, myself included, know their 2.9 times table. What we need to do is round it to one significant figure. So here's the one significant figure there. This is the number that I need to look at. The 9 tells me that I'm going to be rounding up, so that 2.9 becomes a 3. Still got my time symbol in there. My 401, again to one significant figure, or just to a number that's much easier. Always think of the easiest number you can possibly work with when we're looking at estimation. So the number 401, when I'm estimating, becomes 400. Now 3 times 400 gives me 1200, and if you were to put 2.9 into a calculator, you'd end up with a very similar answer. Now when it says in the question estimate 2.9 times 401, it doesn't want you to actually do 2.9 times 401, it wants you to estimate. It wants us to round to a much easier number, and then you'll end up with, in this case, 1200. Now the actual answer was 1162.9. Sorry about that. So it's 1162.9. It's close enough. It's close enough to 1200, and that's all estimation is. We're looking at a number that's similar to it, that's much easier to work with. You'll see estimation questions on non-calculator papers. As such, you wouldn't be expected to start multiplying decimals and multiplying, really awkward numbers. Now the number 401's straightforward enough. We could do it if we wanted to, but it's a bit more awkward than we'd like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 questions here on the board, and if you'd like to have a go at them, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do it, then I'm going to explain my way through it and see how it goes. So first one is 7.1 times by 97, and the second one is 908 divided by 2.03. I'll give you a couple of minutes to have a look at them. Remember to start by rounding. We have to round to one significant figure. We'll make our number as easy as we possibly can. To answer this, I start by rounding to one significant figure. I need to make this the easiest number I possibly can. So 7.1 is close to the number 7. 97 is close to the number 100. 7 times 100 is equal to 700. And if we were to do the actual sum, it would come out very similar. However, in the question it says estimate, so we would just estimate this one. But I'll put the actual answer up on the board just so you can see it. So it's 688.7. So it's very close to 700, therefore we're most probably right with it. In a non-calculator exam you wouldn't have the capability to be able to check this because you wouldn't have a calculator with you. However, if we check it while we're practicing, then we'll be more comfortable with it when it comes to the actual exam. This one here is 908 divided by 2.03. 908 is very close to the number 900. 2.03 is close to the number 2. So 900 divided by 2, that gives me 450. And again, if I was to do the actual sum, it gives me a very, very close answer. So this one actually gives me 447.3. That's to one decimal place. So again, it's very, very similar, and this is how we can see estimation can be used in more practical, more real life contexts. So here we'll look at a slightly more difficult one. So in this case we're going to look at 58.8 times 20.9 divided by 101.4. Again, we're not expected to be able to do the actual answer. What we are expected to do is estimate, and to estimate we round early. I'll give you 1 minute so you can try this, and then we'll go through how to do it on the board together. And so this one we need to start looking at estimating. So 58.8, I'm going to write over everything that's on the board just to save a bit of space. So 58.8, that's close to the number 60. So 60 there. 20.9 is close to 20, so I'm just going to cross off the 0.9. And 101.4 is close to 100. And much easier numbers to work with now. So 60 times 20 to start with. What we need to do is we need to consider this as a bid mass question. Now, a bid mass question means that we've got to do everything on the top first. So I do 60 times 20, essentially I do 6 times 2, which gives me 12, and then I add the 2 zeros because I have 1 0 here and 1 0 there. So I have 2 zeros. So that gives me 1200, and then I want to divide that by 100, and the zeros cancel each other out. So it's now 12 divided by 1, which gives me 12. So it's close to the actual answer, but it's not the actual answer itself. It's very, very similar to it. However, slightly off. So move on. We'll give you like a real life context one now. So you buy 31 TVs at a bargain price of £196.50. You buy 19 DVD players. So 19 DVDs at £50 and 99 pence each. And what you want to do is estimate how much you're actually spending on this. So again, I'll give you a minute, see if you can attempt it, and then we'll come back and have a look. So let's start. Okay, I'm going to write over everything I'll do. So let's start this. So 31 TVs, it's close to 30. It's nice. It's an easier number to work with than 31. So let's estimate that we've got 30 TVs, £196.50. It's close to £200. So we're going to go with £200 instead of 196.50. It's close enough. You'll notice that when you go around the shops doing your shopping, or you're adding clothes to a basket in, say, Primark for example, you'll start to do this. If things come to 74 pence, you might say it's a pound. If things are £21.50, you might just call it £20 for ease. And then estimation becomes a much more real world topic that you actually work with. So 19 DVD players, let's not call it 19, let's call it 20. Again, it's an easier number to work with. What we want with estimation is to make things as easy as we possibly can. Instead of 50.99, just 50. So 30 TVs at £200, so I've got 30 times 200, that gives me 6. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. I've got 3 zeros there, so I've got 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 there. So I'm estimating the cost of TVs at £6,000. 20 DVD players at £50 each. So I've got 20 times by 50. 2 times 5 gives me 10. And I've got 2 zeros there, so I'm going to add 2 zeros on at the end. So 6,000 and 1,000, I want to know the total amount that I'm spending on these TVs and DVD players. I add them together, and I'm not sure if we've got any room at the bottom, but we'll try. It comes to £7,000. So the estimated cost of these TVs and DVD players is £7,000. Now, if you were to do this in an actual calculator, it'd be close to £7,000. It might be an underestimate, it might be an overestimate, but it really doesn't matter. What does matter is in the corner of the paper, down by the answer selection part, it'll say this. It'll say a big number 3 in brackets. That means it's 3 marks. Now, estimation questions they always tend to be 3 marks. They're always very easy to do, and they always frustrate examiners, they frustrate teachers. Anyone who's working with estimation questions get very, very frustrated very quickly because they're easy to do and it's 3 marks that you're essentially given, but no one tends to do it correctly. So we'll go to a couple more examples and then I'll open up for any questions that you may have. It doesn't have to be about estimation, it can be about anything that you have. If you do have any questions afterwards, I'll put our contact details on as well. You can tweet us, you can email us, you can speak to your maths tutor in college, any questions that you have at all, and we'll be able to help you. So, next question. a little bit more mathsy than the last one was. So this one is 31 times by 398 divided by 61. So we're back to the old estimation style questions. So this one here, again, all I need to do is I need to start to round to easier numbers, to one significant figure. So 31, I'm going to round that to 30. 398, I'm going to round that to 400. It's much easier to work with than 398. And 61, I'm going to round it to 60. Always round to the easiest number you possibly can. In the November paper that OCR did just recently, there was a question. It was something like 23.1 times by 4.2 divided by 8.12. Don't round the 23.1 to the 23, round it to 20. It's much easier to work with. So we'll get back to this question on the board. So 30 times by 400, so 3 times 4 gives me 12, and then add 3 numbers on there, because I've got 3 zeros there, so I'm going to add 3 zeros onto my 12. So that gives me 12,000 divided by 60, that's still on the bottom. And I start to cancel out some of these, so I've got 1 0 there and 1 0 there. So I've now got 1200 divided by 6. So essentially, if I was to use bus stop method, that might help us visualize it a little bit better. So I've got 1200 divided by 6. I'm saying how many 6's go into 12? It's 2, and then there's 2 zeros on top. So my estimated answer to 31 times by 398 and divided by 61 is 200. As I said earlier, the answer will be around about 200. Not going to be exactly 200, but it'll be around about 200. Key thing with estimation is to make sure that we make the numbers easy. We want to make this as easy as we possibly can. So we'll go to another question, so a bit longer. So this one, just get the black pen on, 9.03 plus 19.87 times by 3.11 minus 4.97. Now this one a bit longer, again same process. So I want to start rounding everything. I'm going to start rounding it to one significant figure. I want to make the number much easier. So 9.03, it's 9. 19.87, 20. 3.11, 3. And 4.97 is 5. Now, don't fall into the trap of doing 9 plus 20, which will give you 29, times it by 3, and then take away 5 from that answer. Because what we need to do is we need to consider the fundamental law of maths, which is BIDMAS. So we need to look first, are there any brackets? No. Are there any indices? No. Are there any division? No. But there is a multiplication, so we're now up to n in BIDMAS. So I need to do my multiplication first. So I'll do this part. I'll do 20 times by 3, which gives me 60. So I've now got 9 plus 60, which gives me 69. Take away 5, which gives me 64. So my estimated answer to this question is 64. One a little bit harder. I'm going to start looking at dividing by decimals now. So earlier we said about significant figures. It's the first number that isn't 0, and we're going to see a slightly different version of it now. So 50.77 divided by 0.5 0.513, and I want the square root of all that answer. Now I'll let you start and look at rounding to start with. That's all we need to do to begin with, just round the question, round the numbers in the question to easier ones to work with. So 50.77, I would think what that would round to. .77, when we round it, comes to a nice, easy to work with 50. 0.513 doesn't become 1. What it does become, because here's my first significant figure, I need to look at this one. The 1 tells me to round down, so this becomes not 0.513, it becomes 0.5. Now, when I'm dividing by 0.5, when I divide by 0.5, divide by half, what I actually do is I double the number. If you think of it in terms of pizza, so I've got 2 pizzas here on the side of the board. If I was to divide that by half, so essentially see how many halves go into these 2 pizzas, I've got, there's all my halves, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 halves, so 2 pizzas divided by a half equals 4 halves. Okay, that's just something to think about. So when we're dividing by a half, we actually double the answer. So let's go back to the question that we've got on the board. So 50 divided by 0.5, and I want the square root of the whole thing. So because this square root is over everything, I need to actually do this sum first. I've got to essentially treat it as if there's brackets in there, even though there's not any brackets. So here I get 50 divided by a half, which gives me 100, because we have to double the 50. And then I now want the square root of 100, which is equal to 10. Okay, there's no way of calculating square roots other than just knowing the answer. If you know something times by itself gives you 100, that something is the answer. So a square root of 100 is 10. Also, just a bit of an extra thing, the square root of 100 is also minus 10. Every number has 2 square roots, so that it's just the inverses of each other. So the square root of 25 is 5 and minus 5. The square root of 49 is 7 and minus 7. So just keep that in mind. If you ever ask the question, like they were in the OCR paper last June, I think it was, it said what's the square root of 196. There's 2 marks for it, just for typing in root 196 and then writing down the answer 14 and minus 14 too. Right, so thank you very much for watching today. I hope that it's been useful and that you've learned something about estimation. If you want to tweet us, you can tweet us at WLC_IngMaths, as in English Maths. We will respond as soon as we can. If you would like to email us, you can also email us. I am on a.huskerson at wigan-lee.ac.uk. Again, I'll try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I'm not promising it's going to be instant, but it will be hopefully within a few days. If you're unsure, you do have all the exam dates. So for maths, your exam dates are the 24th of the 5th. That's in the morning. So 24th of May in the morning. It's a month today. So hopefully you've got your revision plan sorted, you know exactly what you're going to do, and in the next month you're going to work to make a better you for the future. You've also got the 7th of June, so the 7th to the 6th, that's in the morning, and you also have the 12th of June. So here we have calculator paper first, non-calculator second, and a calculator paper third. Okay, so you've got all the exam dates. You will see posters up around the college that tell you all these exam dates too. You will see it on our Twitter, on the VLE, on your Pro Portal page. When you log into the intranet, it'll be everywhere and you can't avoid it. Hopefully I've taught you something today. If there are any specific topics you'd like me to cover in future sessions, just let me know and I'll happily go through them. But thank you very much for watching. I shall see you tomorrow. We've got English session at 7 o'clock tomorrow, from 7 till 7:30. That's every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maths is 8 till 8:30 every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the run up to exams. Thank you very much for watching today, and best of luck with your exams.